Hi, this is Al Robinson at First Trust Mortgage. We're a division of Hamilton Group Funding in Boca Raton, Florida. I thought I'd do this short recording because I've been getting a lot of questions recently regarding pre-qualification, pre-approvals, and DU approvals, meaning desktop underwriting approvals. I think the questions are coming from loans that are being declined or not closed on time. So I think the majority of realtors and buyers and sellers want to know how to avoid these things in the future. So I thought we'd spend 4 or 5 minutes and let you know what's going on. So what happens is if you look up on the screen, we do 4 different things in the loan process. We do credit, we do income verification, we do cash to close verification, and then at the end we'll do a property valuation after the contract, after the inspection is done. So in the pre-qualification stage, the only thing we're doing is having a conversation with the buyer, and we're also pulling credit. Now, depending on the skill set of the loan officer reviewing the credit, you can obviously have some issues there. For example, you might have a 700 credit score, but you have a disputed account on a 60-day late. All of a sudden, when that's put back into the credit score, because I'm sure you're aware that disputes take items out of the credit score could go down to 680. And not that they wouldn't get approved at that, but they might not get the interest rate that they wanted. Conversely, if you have a low score, a 620 credit score, it's very possible that could take you from an approval to a decline. There might be a foreclosure, bankruptcy, short sale on the credit report. And those things, you can have good credit scores and have those issues in there that may or may not let the loan be approved and closed. The next step would be a pre-approval. The pre-approval, we're going to go and talk about income, as you can see. We're going to talk about 2 years of history along with what recent employment they have and recent income is. But just like the credit, the person who's reviewing it needs to be educated as to, are there undisclosed business expenses? Are there unreimbursed business expenses? What about commission versus salary? How about self-employed versus a W-2 job, and commissions versus hourly? The person interpreting the data needs to have a background in underwriting so that they know if something's going to get through the system or not. So I think you can get a little flavor of how someone who reviews credit because they're not underwriters could make mistakes and give people false pre-approvals. The other item here is cash to close. Not only do we have to calculate how much cash to close they'll need, we also need to talk about where the cash to close came from. Was it a gift? What's the big deposit on the bank statement? Are they liquid funds? Is it a 401k and all the money's in cash, or is it in an IRA and there's going to be penalties to withdraw it? So the detail back to is what's important and why you can get pre-approvals that aren't even good, but at least you have a much better chance because a loan officer has looked at the information. Keep in mind, a loan officer at a bank doesn't even need a licensing test to be a loan officer. They need to be registered, but they haven't even had the education that a mortgage broker or a mortgage banker has. So just keep an eye out for that. Last but not least, their desktop underwriting. And what that does is it takes everything we've just talked about. We put that data into an electronic system. We send it to Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae does an electronic approval by reviewing what we put in and then comes out with an approved eligible or approved ineligible or decline. There's different statuses we could get. Now keep in mind that electronic approval is only as good as the information that the loan officer is putting in. It is reviewing credit, but you still have exposure on income and on cash to close. Is it better than a pre-approval? Absolutely. Is it better than a pre-qual? Definitely. But there still are issues possibly sometimes. So keep that in mind. The recommendations are, if you're a listing agent, I would be calling the loan officer, asking them what they did with that pre-approval or pre-qualification letter. Don't assume they've done anything. Ask them about the credit. Ask them about the income. Do they have tax returns? Do they have pay stubs? What about the bank statements? Do they feel confident in that loan? You may want to ask some questions about the loan officer, how long they've been with the company, how long have they been lending, how many loans have they done. Some people have been in the business for a year and have done 2 loans. Other people have been in the business for a year and have done 30 loans. So their experience matters a lot. If I'm on the buyer side of the transaction, I'm doing all that questioning and all that review before I ever put someone in the car to go showing them properties, because you could be disappointed at the bitter end if you haven't done the proper due diligence. I hope that helps. If you need more information, or if you need me to review a pre-approval or do a pre-approval or desktop underwriting or pre-qualifications, I'd be glad to help. I'm at 954-415-6133, or you could always reach me at my website at www.borrowsmart.biz, B-I-Z.